Hi, I'm Barbara Harrington and I teach the Alexander Technique. The Alexander Technique is an education and it's to help people who have chronic problems and who have had no help in other areas of therapy or treatment. And they come and see me when they begin to realise that it must be something that they're doing in their lives that's causing them their problems. And I can help them identify what the problem is and encourage them and help them to stop them doing it. And the Alexander Technique is all about avoiding doing things that cause difficulties rather than actually giving sets of exercises to help people address their problems. So we come from the point of view that if you can avoid doing what causes the problem, then the chances are the problem will go away. This was discovered by F.M. Alexander, and he was an actor and he performed in the Victorian era when there were one-man shows, and he had a problem with hoarseness, and he had a lot of help from the medical establishment, but it wasn't lasting, so he would go back on stage and begin to speak, and halfway through his performance he went hoarse. So he began to recognise that there was nothing wrong with his voice at all. It was fine at the beginning of the performance, but that there was something he was doing to himself when he spoke that caused the problem. And he studied himself using a mirror for 10 years to discover what it was he was doing with himself that caused his problems, and noticed a huge amount of information, detailed information about what he was doing with his body, the way his body worked, and explored what happened when he succeeded in avoiding all the things he could see were obviously not going to be useful. He had such success with what he discovered that when he was on stage he became known as the breathing man, because nobody could ever hear him breathe, and so many actors wanted to come and take advantage of his knowledge and experience. And not only that, people from the medical establishment became very interested, so he had physiologists and anatomists who came to see him, and also educationalists who were also interested, because his technique was all about re-establishing a good way of using the body and dissolving away the programs we have that are not useful in our behaviour. I offer an introductory session which lasts an hour, and I work with my hands, so it helps if people are not touch phobic, but that's quite rare in my experience. So they come and we have a chat and make sure that we'll get along okay together, but also to do some work to get my hands on them so that they can begin to experience what it feels like to do things in a rather different way from what they're used to. And when they begin to experience that, they realise they have choices. So you can choose how you pick something up off the floor. There are all sorts of different ways of doing that. Some are better than others. So with experience and information, you can begin to choose the ways of doing things which are less damaging to your body than you might otherwise have done. So we look at very simple things like sitting and standing, bending or walking, and we have a way of lying on the floor which encourages you to have the experience of an integrated head, neck and back relationship. And if we want our bodies to really work well, like a human equivalent of a Rolls Royce, we need to be very clear about keeping a good relationship between the head, the neck and the back. Originally, it was very well known by the performing arts, because Alexander himself was involved in the performing arts, and but since so many people from different fields were interested in it, it soon became something that many people from all walks of life are interested in. I think really most of the people who come and see me are people who have chronic physical difficulties, but I do see a good number of people who come simply because they want to improve and enjoy more of what they do, and to be able to do it more easily, more freely, if it's in the performing arts more expressively, or if it's in sport, simply to have that wonderful feeling of lightness and freedom that good coordination will bring to the body. I also see people who are interested in changing their level of awareness and their quality of being. So sometimes I'll see people who suffer from depression, or I see people with writer's or artist's block who feel like they've got stuck and they need to change and shift and move. So everybody is welcome, and from my point of view, it's a fascinating experience to work with anybody for whatever reason that they come. Everybody is unique and they all need different things, and I don't know what they need. We both have to discover that between the two of us as we go through the work. I love it when people come in and say that they don't experience the pain that they've been experiencing for the last 20 years anymore. And I love it when people come in and say they've managed to do a whole day's gardening, which would have caused them quite a few days of stiffness and discomfort, and in this instance it has caused them no discomfort at all. They've got up not knowing or remembering that they did a whole day's gardening. I love it when people come in who have always had a dreadful fear of swimming, and who've been able to come in and say, well, I went swimming last week and it was fine. So any shift delights me. Any shift in people that they bring in and share with me is a great joy. Yes, that's true, but not through any virtue of the child, other than the fact that in small children, certainly below the age of 3 years old, the head is so big in proportion to the rest of the body that if it's not efficiently balanced on the top of the spine, they fall over, and they fall over a lot. But when they're not falling over, what you're witnessing is the most beautiful, balanced use of a human body. As the proportions change, that balance isn't so crucial, and so as adults we can get away with a lot of nonsense in how we balance our heads on the top of the spine, where a child of 3 would simply fall over. But I need to add to that that their good use at 3 and below is learned behaviour. They learn through trial and error, and we're not born with it. We're not born with good use. We have to learn it, and at that age, because it's not consciously learned, they don't carry it into their lives with them.